Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to the Fargone Racing GT Challenge Season number 19. I am Lindsay Muddle in the comms box, and for at least the first part of this race, I am joined by the one and only Zach O'Reilly. How are you, Zach? Yeah, it definitely is. It is such a tricky circuit, always testing the driver through all three sectors of the circuit. But interestingly enough, when the track is not good for a Ford Mustang, there is none on the grid. We don't have the likes of Matty or Nathan Monks on the grid tonight. So it is just going to be a Steve-O masterclass, at least from what I saw in the practice session. Steve-O was 8/10 clear of the next car. Hold on, Zach. Your mic is fucking, for some reason, even though I've got the thing set up, your audio's not coming through. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm doing, and it's just not working. Try now. Yeah, just doesn't like you. Hold on, let me just turn the other thing on then. Hold on. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. OBS is just having an OBS moment, and one of the sources is refusing to work. Alright, there you go. You should come through now.
Ooh, am I back?
Yep, there he is.
There we go. Well, Stephen Rees is going to have a field day here, coasting around for his first flying lap here, ladies and gents, at the Hungary ring. And this is going to be exciting. As you said, no Mustangs on the track here, Lindsay. So the Ferrari is where it's at tonight, and he's navigating it beautifully. Just rounding turn 4 there for the first time. He's come out to the first sector. Timing markers there. And we'll see where he can sit in the end of this with 12 minutes and 18 seconds left here in qualifying. He's just got to put a banker lap in now and watch the rest come through to see where his delta comes up. Is it going to be trumps, or is he going to have to play his hand once more to maybe get that Ferrari further up the grid? And by going over that inside curbage, there could have been a track cut too. So maybe the pressure has been released off Stephen Rees, and he's just got that little bit of focus wearing in his back of his mind, and he's gone off to the AstroTurf there as well. So not the cleanest of laps here to start this qualifying session, Lindsay Muddle, here for Fargone Racing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He does have a tendency, since the series has started, to not do a valid first flying lap. So maybe it's just a way of playing mind games with the competition. Invalidates his first run each and every time while he gets his tyres up to temperature, and then just sets an absolute rip snorter once he gets his second flying lap underway. It's all mental games out on the racetrack at the end of the day, especially during a qualifying session. So definitely could be something, but he is rounding the final corner now. Is Stephen Rees. Is he going to set a valid lap time on the board here in the Hungarian? Demon Boost does a 45.2. What does Steve-O do across the line? Of 43.4, but it was invalidated to kick off proceedings.
Oh, there we go. That's what happens when you cut that chicane, ladies and gents. You go off. But I'll tell you what, Biggie Hugs here in the McLaren, driving very nicely, sitting in third, still hasn't set a time himself. So unless he's on his first flying lap, he also had an invalid lap last time around. Demon Boost has gone across the line, as we said before, in the 666 Ferrari. 1.2 seconds away from Hoggy, who has just placed himself in first with a 1:44 dead. Then the times are coming through. Speed Racer's in there as well. Eda Nick's gone bang to the top here too. What can Biggie Hugs do here in his McLaren? He's ran in the final corner here now, the Hungary ring. He's just got to keep it nice and tidy on exit and not run too wide. He does so just a little bit onto the AstroTurf there, but that puts him up into 4th place now with the 1:44.797 to kick off his qualifying proceedings. And I'll tell you what, this is the best car on the track, the best looking car. In fact, the BMW sensational liveried vehicle there of Lee Perkins. He, at the moment, is in 3rd place here, 0.4 of a second away from Eda Nick. But I'll tell you what, Stephen Rees is not going to be far away from completing his first lap around at the moment. He is at the back half of the Hungary ring here. You can see him coming down the back hill straight, downhill into a very sharp right-hand curve. You can cut the inside there just a little bit, and he does so. Uses it all. Doesn't use all the track limits there, but that's going to be fine for him. Cuts it in deep an early apex, but hugs the inside corner right around, lets the car drift wide here for the final turn of the Hungaroring. Very easy to overcook it on the first part of this corner, but Steve's looking very, very tidy here at the moment. The number 6 Ferrari about to cross the line here. Is he going to set? Is it going to be a 42 something? We will see as he puts it in, a 42.695 there, bang, 1.1 seconds away from Edenick.
Yeah, and that is Toba Sire off the racetrack there for a moment, but Steve Reese 1.1 seconds clear. As you said, that is just absolutely unreal driving from Stephen Reese. And now what can Longy do? He had a poor first run in this qualifying session. We know this season he's one of only 3 other drivers to be able to compete against Stephen Reese in the pace department, and now across the line, clearly not having a good night. He improves, but not by much whatsoever, and he's 3 seconds off a driver that he's normally only 3/10 off.
Well, that's okay. He'll be fine. Don't stress about this. He'll get his head together, Longy, and go for it. And Nick's driving very, very nicely indeed. He's got pipped by Hoggy there as well, only by 0.03 of a second, if you don't mind me saying that. An absolute bee's whisker between second and third at the moment here in qualifying, and it's also tight at the back. Lee Perkins 1.5 off the lead pack, but in terms of his time, he's only 0.3 away as well. So this could end up being a very, very tricky qualifying session here for the mid pack here. Don't think Stephen Reese is going to be threatened too much unless Longy gets his act together and files it around. But we're on board here with Edenick, and you can see the car behaviour. Very, very nice. And Lindsay Muddle's stream has just disappeared for a second. But here we go. We're back again. And I'll tell you what, coming up to this section here, it is very hard. A very tight and tricky right to left and over the curve. As you can see, the car's just absolutely skyrocketing itself into oblivion there. But he gathers it up, does Edenick, pretty quickly. And he's recovered nicely. He hasn't missed an apex since that little off. Oh, now there he's gone onto the AstroTurf. Maybe a little bit of a track cut there, but still driving very nicely. We can't see how far up he is or down, but he's absolutely aborted this one. That's job done for him. He'll come back for one more race around the circuit here for his qualifying. What's Hoggy going to do here too? He's round in the final corner. Can he improve on his best time? 1.1 seconds off Stephen Reese at the front. Can he degrade that gap a little bit as he crosses the line? He does a little bit, 0.3 in fact, better improvement. Hoggy coming to grips with that Ferrari. Speed Racer, however, looking very nicely here. He's done 144.782. Can he improve himself? He is crossing the line, and he does it not. He's done a 144.9, so 0.2 off his personal best. Swooper is definitely doing that, looking like a bit of a magpie, I would say. That's his nickname from now. But what can he do, Lindsay Muddle? Another entrant into this series and driving very nicely.
Yeah, he has been improving since he got himself into that BMW M4 GT3, and now he's just trying to put himself well cemented inside that top 10 here at the Hungaroring, and he has just been going a little bit quicker. He's about 2.5 up on his previous best lap time as he's rounding the final corner now in the BMW and up towards the line. Where can Swooper go? It's 1 place improvement to P7 with a 45.1 for the BMW right now, as we look to Lee Perkins. 44.1 on the board for him right now, and he's trying to improve in that absolutely sensational livery, one could say, as he heads up the hill into the second sector. He is improving. He's 0.2 up, but he does have a Ferrari in front of him. That would be the Ferrari of Force as he heads through the chicane. This could be a little bit tricky for his flying lap if he catches the back of that Ferrari just a little bit too quickly. It'll take quite a lap from Lee Perkins to pip Edenick into that P3, but he's more than capable of it. But he's currently even Stevens on his previous best lap time, so all the time that he gained has fallen away, and he needs to find 0.3 if it is to get up into the top 3. Currently sitting at the edge of the second row of the grid with 5 minutes 40 seconds to go in this qualifying session. The BMW rounding the penultimate corner now. A tricky, slow, sluggish left-hander. The car loves to hook in through this section, but there was a mistake. He went too far inside, and that is going to mean the lap time bleeds away, and now he's going to set up for another qualifying lap here in this session. Swooper, though, 0.3 up on his previous best. This could get him into the 44s, but he does have a big gap to close if he is going to catch up to Biggie in the McLaren in front of him. Stevo currently not out on the racetrack. Edenick also is on a lap currently, so we'll cut to him in a moment. He's doing quite well now in this qualifying session, and Longy, however, not doing too well, still in the high 45s and not really finding too much more pace, but rounding the final corner, Super for a 3/10 improvement is not going to gain a place, but he is going to find some valuable lap time as we'll now look to Longy in the McLaren towards the line now. Does not improve on his previous best lap time as Eda Nick is 2/10 up in that purple BMW, and that would be nearly enough to get him to Hoggy. He just needs to find another 10th through the third sector, but he loses all of it. I'm not exactly sure where in that acceleration zone. Maybe just a little bit of traction control invading on his ability to improve in this qualifying session. But with 4 minutes 20 to go, what can Eda Nick do?
He's going to be close here at the moment. See what he's got. He's got another 2 or 3 laps to get the job done if he is to take Hoggy's place there in second position. But we've got to find out what he is setting up here for another lap. He apexes that corner nicely. So he's still on here pace-wise, but where is the time going to come for him? He's going to round the corner here now and take the checkered flag, or not the checkered flag, but he's done a 43.6, so he's now only 3/10 exactly off Hoggy's the best time. Hoggy has just ran a little bit wide there too, so maybe a little bit of pressure coming in Hoggy's wheelhouse at the moment. We can see what he's doing here, driving the wheels. He's just on his personal best, so at the moment he's got to keep it nice and neat, and you can see there what the slip angle does. It gives you some time mid-corner, but that oversteer absolutely hampers you with the traction control. He is bang on. Dead set here, right on his personal best time. Where can he find it? Is he going to find it at this corner? Darts it into the left hand. He does it. He just on the teetering edge there of grip. Slams it into first gear. Gets it pointed nicely. Hanging on with his personal best. Beautiful driving using all the slip angle he possibly can here. Here's Hoggy. He's driving the wheels off this Ferrari. What the setup is letting him do. Round to 2 chicanes there. Still bang on his time. This is consistency here, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at one of the masters here of doing that in qualifying. Hoggy really on the teetering edge. Just nudging that oversteer moment. You can see the wheel work there too. Beautiful stuff. Just keeping that car straight but sliding at the same time. He's now found a little bit of time. He's just got to keep it together. He's found 2,000ths. That is the margin we are talking about, ladies and gents. There's nothing in it. He is only 1,000ths up on his personal best, and he's just found half a tenth, and it's lost it all on the exit too. You can go in too hot and come out slow. Now, can he do anything around the final 2 turns here? He's just nailed it here. He's got about 400s, 4,000s per second now. Nothing again. Wowee, this is just wringing the neck off this Ferrari at its personal best. He's 6/10 off Stephen Rees's time, and he's just going to pip basically the same lap time as he did last time as he comes around. Look at that, only 300ths off his own personal best. That is cracking driving. Stephen Rees, however, Lindsay Muddle, is back out on the circuit and trying to take another 10th or 2 away from his competitors just to put the nail in the coffin of any chance here in quali.
Yeah, and he was up 2/10 through the first sector, but he's lost it somewhere at the start of the second sector, so he's bang on even to his previous best lap time. So Stephen Rees will just try and wring the neck out of this Ferrari, but he has one more lap after this one to do it as well. So he's not under too much pressure on this lap, as long as he knows he'll have the tyre underneath him and the pace underneath him to improve even further in this qualifying session. He doesn't really have to, but as a driver, you'll always be trying to get the best out of yourself, especially in a qualifying session. And that is what he's doing right now. He's bringing that 296 to the absolute limit. He's currently a 10th up as he heads through the penultimate corner, and now just send it into the final corner, take an early apex and then cut back out and get the second apex on the exit and then power out up towards the line. It's not going to be an improvement, at least on my timing tower, for Stephen Rees. It is an improvement by only a couple of hundredths of a second, but we'll now do an onboard lap with Stephen Rees as he gets ready to kick off his final lap in this qualifying session. Down to first gear in the Ferrari, power out of turn 1, dead even on his previous best as he makes the run and down towards the tricky turn 2, braking at the start of the outside curb and then tip it in first gear, take it out wide, get a double apex and then power out. Very easy to lose traction here if you open up this corner completely flat out. Of course Steve-O doesn't. He's an absolute legend behind the wheel, and he's in tune with this Ferrari to every last detail, every bump in the road, over the left-hand crest, super easy to invalidate, and that's exactly what he's done here in the final run.
That's all right. Nonetheless, for Stephen Rees, Hoggy's going to have one more crack at him, because now if Hoggy gets this all together, we probably could get a 10th or two, but it's going to give Stephen something to think about in the race. We'll see the Aston Martin just full sliding through that corner, Tokyo Drift style. That was really good to see from that. Kept it under control. Hoggy is on a lap here. He's got to keep himself right there in that nails liveried Ferrari. Still red and yellow nonetheless, but we'll see what Hoggy can do. This qualifying session is over, ladies and gents. So the times should maybe tumble for the rest of the competitors. Are we going to see any positional changes here in the last phase of this qualifying session? Speed Race is done. Swoop is done. Stephen Rees is done. Tobasire and Ninja has also gone into the pits. Jay Lee has not set a time here in qualifying. Has not come out at all. Swoop is in. Perkins is done as well. 1.15 seconds off the best time. What can Hoggy do here? No, he's just sitting it on the edge. We cannot see what his time is. Well, I can't anyway, but nonetheless, it looks good. He's looking very, very quick here, trying to get it all teed up and nicely. Is he up, Lindsay Muddle, for the last section of qualifying? I got no idea.
No, he's a 10th down as he heads into the final sector, but through the braking zone, he's dead even. Can he find even another 10th here in this qualifying session to hold Eden Nickett Bay, who's also on a lap of the Hungary ring? Hoggy heading through the penultimate corner up towards the final corner now in the other Ferrari. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be a Ferrari front row lockout here in Fargone Racing as Hoggy rounding the final corner will not be an improvement, but Eden Nick has decided to pull over. He invalidated his lap time as Longy is currently 4/10ths up. He's not having the strongest of qualifying sessions, maybe decided not to put in the practice for tonight's proceedings. He knows he has 70 minutes ahead of him to make up any sort of qualifying losses, and he's improving here at the last second. Will it be enough to get the place off of Demon Boost? I don't think so, as he crosses the line now in the McLaren. No, it won't be. So your final qualifying order, unsurprisingly, is Stephen Rees on pole, and then you have Hoggy 6.5 tenths behind that from Eden Nick, Lee Perkins, Speed Racer, and Hugs rounds out your top 6.
What a cracking qualifying session from everyone in Sundry. Longy just don't know what's going on there with the ping or something on his end, but his wheel work looks as choppy as a wood lumberjack contest at the moment. I'll give you the hot tip, but nonetheless, Stephen Rees has come out on top. Hoggy in second, Eden Nick third, Lee Perkins in fourth place, Speed Racer in fifth. Very, very tight there between all of those guys when it comes to racing. Hugs as well, only 0.03 of a second away from taking off Speed Racer's fifth position. Then you got Swooper in seventh, MJ, Demon Boost, and Longy ran out your top 10. Tobasire, Lee Force, and I reckon Ninja will be hoping that Jay Lee does not set a time there to take off his personal best. That looks like Longy is driving with a keyboard tonight.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. I'm thinking not keyboard, but controller. ACC on controller does look just about like that as well. So that would definitely explain why he's not on the level he usually is up the front there with Stephen Rees. So maybe a hardware failure or something along those lines, putting him onto the controller.
Maybe something that explains why he's down there at the back end of the grid. Stephen Rees will be happy about that, because Longy been one of the competitors to take it, honestly, to Steve at some points during the racing in this season and last season too. So very, very nice stuff here from them. I'm not going to be here for long, unfortunately, ladies and gents, but we'll keep calling it here until I have to depart the commentary box. Lindsay Muddle's going to be the rest of the expert commentary for the evening. But I'll tell you what, this is a good-looking grid. 2 Ferraris on the front row. Stephen Rees and Hoggy, Eden Nick in third place with Lee Perkins in the 2 BMWs, third and fourth, with a lonely Aston Martin in fifth. Then you got McLaren BMW, MJ in another Aston Martin and Ferrari, McLaren BMW. No Porsches here tonight, as we've seen on the thing, and no Mustangs. So interesting to see what cars suit the Hungary ring, and those guys who didn't decide to turn up tonight, Lindsay Muddle, I think they could do better.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It is interesting not seeing every single Mustang that normally competes here in this series just randomly disappear for 70 minutes of Hungary ring. It all seems a little bit too convenient for me, I think, as to have a minute until raced up. Yeah, we're missing Matty and Nathan Monks, and even some of the guys down the back in the Ford Mustang as well, of the likes of Dave Ross, all missing from this grid tonight. I know that the Mustang is a handful at this circuit, but not even coming and giving it a crack. I mean, I'll tell you what, that tells you a little bit about the mentality behind the wheel, doesn't it now, Zach O'Reilly?
It definitely does there, Lindsay Muddle, that's for sure. But you've got to be in it to win it, ladies and gents. Doesn't matter what car you're in. It's all about learning. And knowing what your car can and can't do at each circuit is all going to be a benefit to you in the long run. You'll probably end up being quick at that track that you don't think your car's suited to. Without practice, there is no progression, as they say. But 20 seconds to go here before the rolling start sets to go away, and we're getting excited here. Can Stephen Rees keep it all together for this race and just keep that trend going, or is Hoggy and Eda Nick going to come right at him? You're going to find out within the next 70 minutes of racing here. I'll tell you what, Lindsay Muddle, it's going to be an absolute belter here. Hungary, Fargone Racing, Assetto Corsa Competizione. What more do you want here on a Tuesday night? Nothing, because you're here watching it with us here at Sensational TV. Lindsay Muddle, we're about ready to go rolling.
Yes, we are, and once again, for round number 9 here in Fargone Racing GT Challenge, season number 19, the green flags are ready to fly, and the green lights are ready to illuminate, with Stephen Rees taking it up from pole once again, as we've come to expect from Hoggy, then Eda Nick and Lee Perkins on the second row, and we are about to be racing here in Hungary, and it's green flags, and away we go here for the race start in Hungary, and Stephen Rees already getting off to a good start. Hoggy is not able to put the pressure on the long way around, but Eda Nick is going to go down the inside. No, Hoggy fights back as they head through turn 1, very late on the brakes from the Ferrari, and he found himself on the outside of Steve-O. It's 3 wide in the background there between Swooper and the Ferrari of Demon Boost and MJ as they head down towards turn 2, as well as Speed Racer was side by side with Biggie Hugs there momentarily, but still through turn 2, Swooper side by side with Boost as they head through the apex. There's a slight bit of contact there. Ferrari just keeping it in a straight line, and through goes Lethal Force as well as they head up the hill. Swooper just about able to hold the places. Oh no, that was Longy having a mare on the apex curb as they head up the hill, and now he has the McLaren and Ninja up his inside as they head up the hill. The controller clearly not working for the McLaren man. Look at him all over the place, left and right. Very late on the brakes he goes though as they head into the chicane, just about holding on, but Stephen Rees is already halfway checked out of this race. He's 8/10 clear of Hoggy behind.
I cannot see one thing at the moment. My computer has had a complete lock-up. So Lindsay Muddle's going to have to keep commentating for now because I cannot see one thing.
Yeah, so on board here on the back of Lee Perkins' car, he has Hugs right up behind him in the McLaren. He took out a win last time around, and now he's trying to fight it once again. He's trying to move himself into that top 4 in that McLaren. He's shown some massive improvements over the course of this season, and now it's all really tying up in a bow for Hugs with 2 rounds to go here in season number 19. He's always fighting in that top 5 sort of area, and right now he is currently sitting in 5th place, but down the straight they go. He loses a load of lap time to Lee Perkins. That is the McLaren versus the BMW, but meanwhile further down the back, Swooper still battling away with Demon Boost as they head down towards turn 1, at the Ferrari not quite able to get up his inside. And that is exactly what he'd want, as Toba Sire is wheel to wheel with Longy now, who's fallen even further down the order in that McLaren. This is usually a front-running car. He's having an absolute nightmare tonight, and that is not what he'd want whatsoever, as Steve-O has nearly broken that 1 second gap. Hoggy has broken a second to Eda Nick, who's currently sitting in about no man's land to the cars in front, but behind he has his fellow BMW of that beautiful sensational liveried Lee Perkins BMW, and then Hugs is trying to put the pressure on him behind, but the closest battle on track is currently the front still. Separated by 7/10 of a second. The back is separating out just a little bit in that P9, P10 sort of fight, but Steve-O's pulling away bit by bit, and then Lee Perkins is now the closest car to a car in front at the moment of Eda Nick. But I do think that delta's probably wrong, as Biggie Hugs looks very close behind. It's about even potentially between them at the moment, but this is a 70-minute race. They don't have to be aggressive. They don't have to just absolutely send it. They have to bide their time and just make sure they survive, and strategy is going to be everything tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they're driving the wheels off this thing, and I'll tell you what, that is a sensational looking car, if you don't mind it. But Lee Perkins so closer, only 8/10 of a second between himself and Eda Nick. I don't know what is going on with that timing tower. It looks a hell of a lot closer, but we could be wrong. It's updated itself. It's still 8/10, so don't stress about that. 7/10 between Perkins and Hugs. A little bit of a sandwich situation coming our way here at Sensational TV. What are these guys going to be able to achieve in the long run? I'll tell you what, Hoggy's keeping Stephen Rees honest. He's only a second away here in the proceedings. It's early stages, but nonetheless driving very nicely on a lap on a tank of fuel, actually, in terms of the heaviness of the car, it does change it and settle it down a little bit. So it's not too shabby at this point in time. The gap is still 8 tenths versus 7 tenths for Lee Perkins, Eda Nick, and Mr. Hugs there as well. The Cuddle man is trying to grasp his arms onto the back of Lee Perkins and just hug his way through onto another position up the road. But I'll tell you what, those positions there at the moment, ever so gapping, and we're just going to see what they can do, what the cars are going to end up like here in the long run. Tyre wear is incredible, and using all the curbs here on the circuit at Hungaroring, ladies and gents, definitely eats away your tyres at the start. If you are using them when they're cold, the ACC game physics just does not like that tyre situation.
Yeah, and you just continually lose tyre pressure as well as gain wear. It is not great, and I think we'll see it even more prominently at Silverstone next time around in the 25-minute sprints that we have next week to, I believe, round off this absolutely fantastic season for Fargone. You can never get your pressures in the right range around that circuit on ACC, as you're always clobbering over the curbs, and it really doesn't enjoy it. But Hoggy is keeping Stephen Rees honest, as he said, but he has dropped outside that 1 second range as they cross the line. It is 1.3 seconds effectively as they cross the line and begin the next lap. Meanwhile, Lee Perkins has B Hugs only 8 tenths behind, so not too big of a gap, not too small of one either, but Swooper is under pressure from Demon Boosters. That was Toba Sire spun around at the final corner in the background in the yellow BMW. He's having an absolute mare to round off this season. He's had a good couple races in a row with spinning left, right and centre, so he'll definitely be looking to improve heading into the next one, but he still has Silverstone and the rest of this race to go in season number 19. But Swooper is definitely being kept honest at the moment by Demon Boost. A Ninja runs wide in the background. Not ideal for that McLaren, but yeah, I think Swooper's going to have an absolutely cracking battle here with Demon Boost as this race goes further and further on.
Yeah, I reckon the PSIs are coming up in Demon's wheelhouse at the moment. That turbo is starting to spool nicely, and he's ever gapping so much closer. As we see there, it was 3 tenths, now it's 6 tenths. So it's just a little bit of a sword fight going on, a bit of jousting in the Delta department. Again, it looks a hell of a lot closer than 6 tenths at the moment, but nonetheless, I reckon Swooper's just sort of looking in the rear vision mirror now. It's about half a second between these two, nothing in it, and they're driving very, very nicely. The BMW, a nose-heavy car, just a little bit of a different driving style compared to the Ferrari in front. You can see the different lines. The apexing of Demon Boost at the moment is very, very tidy. Just a bit of understeer. The rear of the car pushing it around, and on the exit too, bit of oversteer. But it's all understeer battling here in the BMW. You've got to get that rear to rotate, and that is hairy stuff from Demon Boost. He had a half a look, hooked himself way out of that battle. He knew that move wasn't on and thought twice, just pulled out at the last minute, still hopped over the inside curb. So you'll have to go back to the drawing board now. But this battle here is coming very, very close. 4 tenths of a second between Perkins and Hugs. Now it's on here like Donkey Kong. We've got a BMW versus McLaren heating up here for the battle. Lee Perkins is very happy at the moment, but he's got B Hugs right behind him, and that ever so slightly intimidating sight of a purple and white McLaren in his rear vision mirror is getting ever so closer here now, and he's just run it a little bit wide there, has Lee. So now that's going to invite Mr. Hugs up the inside at some point. He'll notice that and just keep pressuring him here, just keep himself within the mirrors and the rear vision mirror and the side mirrors, just to keep that pressure building and building and building as the racing goes on. An hour and 2 left here in this race. Plenty of time for unforced errors to come each other's way. Who's it going to be first? Who's going to blink? Who's going to be sitting there and going, oh, geez, that is not the strategy I was hoping for tonight, going off into the bunda. But no, nonetheless, it is close. You can see where Lee Perkins is stronger and weaker around the circuit compared to Hugs. That BMW not liking the direction change as much as the Ferrari, and that's probably because they've got a bit of a pendulum effect in the rear end, and that was what we just saw there, the Ferrari just wobbling ever so slightly on exit. The arse end is heavier in a Ferrari compared to the front of the BMW, which has got it all right there up the snout. But I'll tell you what, it's interesting to see the two different cars, how they drive these things, and I reckon Biggie Hugs now is very, very close indeed. He's definitely going to have a bit of a half a suck down the front straightaway here at Hungaroring. What are we going to see? That's very close too as well, because I think Eda Nick is just dropping off the pace a little bit here in comparison. 1.1 seconds between Perkins and him at this point in time, so they can all see each other. But I think at the moment Perkins is in the sandwich. Which way to look, front or back? Yeah,
it is definitely interesting for him. He's in a bit of a tricky situation As he said, he's just got a car in front of him, but the car right behind him is definitely the car he'll be focusing on at the moment, as every time he looks in his mirrors, he's just seeing a McLaren through and through, and that McLaren is getting very close. The gap 3/10 between BE Hugs and Lee Perkins at the moment as they head into the 1 hour mark. So we've passed 10 minutes of racing in a couple of moments' time, and that has been a pretty fast 10 minutes to say the least, and already this battle is starting to heat up, and with strategy in the works as well, these drivers will just continually battle throughout this race until it comes to pit stop time, and they are absolutely flying around this circuit at the moment as car number 33 is causing yellow flag out there for some sort of reason. It's actually Longy. He's found the wall, so the driver normally at the front on controller tonight has had an absolute mare, and he's found the wall. But back up to this fight, Biggie Hugs, this is where he finds his lap time. This is where he closes in on the BMW that just sits right in front of him. The sensational BMW has absolutely no response through the middle sector, through the McLaren, and what more would you expect from a BMW? It's just a little bit heavy compared to this McLaren, and they'll continue to fight this away, but we've seen it every time Hugs gets up behind that BMW. He's not able to strike, he's not able to attack down towards turn one, and he just doesn't have the legs in a straight line to attack the German machine, but already the McLaren a lot closer than he was last time around as he heads on to the straight. He's just got to get a good exit, and he should be able to hound the back of this BMW. They're fighting hammer and tong, but that's not a good exit at all for Hugs. He had a little bit of a wobble, and that allows the BMW to get away even more than usual here, as we've now had just over 10 minutes past.
Yeah, very cracking stuff from both of them. As you said, Lindsay, very different driving styles, but also cars are strong and weak in different sections of the circuit. Lee Perkins doing 1:45.1s for his last lap time as well. His best is a 1:44.9, so very, very consistent. Only half a tenth between each time he goes around, which is very, very nice indeed. But as we say, when it comes to racing, you just never know. It's never going to be what you think it is. You can either be consistent or run it off the track somewhere wide. And at the moment, MJ in the Aston Martin, he's trying to find Speed Racer in front of him. He's 2.8 seconds away, but he's got a bit of pressure from the Hurricane right behind him in Lethal Force. And I'll tell you what, looking very, very nicely indeed is that Ferrari. You can see where it's stronger as well. He's closed that gap. He's found 2/10 here in the first half of Hungaroring. What can he do through this middle sector here? We've got the tight right to left chicane. Both navigating it nicely, looking very handy on the dampers there is that Aston Martin. Just onto the grass there was forced, but he's definitely putting the pressure on now. That is 100% correct in that driving department. And now it's all mirrors looking backwards at the moment. That Ferrari is so close now. It looks so very, very close. 0.3 of a second, I would say, here at least. And what has happened there in the background, Jay Lee's called it quits, and he's pulled into the pits. He's done. Lethal Force is also in the pits as well.
What's going on here? No, was it? Yes, it was. I think that was an internet problem, because every time I tried to cut to him, it was cutting me back to the pit lane, and then now we have a situation where now the car behind not Sweeper, sorry. Wait, Speed Rate. Yeah, sorry, it was Force. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Internet connection things, I guess. That was very hard to follow. But anyway, meanwhile, here's Force. He's just... Wait, yeah, you know what? I'm so confused right now. There was a massive internet thing. He was in the pit lane, and now he's back, and he's down the inside of the Aston Martin that he was chasing, and he's going to go through as they head through turn number 1, and Force gets past MJ, but that was pretty tricky to follow there with some internet clearly causing some problems.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a glitch in the matrix there, but nonetheless they're back, and it is a position for Force. He has got that job done very nicely as well. He got an absolutely beautiful run onto the front straightaway and just sailed down the inside there, easy as you like. It's easiest overtake we've seen all night from everyone in Sundry, and it's looking like our timing tower is having a bit of a mare at the moment. Swooper at the moment not setting anything, and then you can see all the rest of the timing towers just doing their own best impression of something of a gap to each car in front of them. But nonetheless, the racing is still happening. We can see them on track here. Look at the focus through that lens of the helmet now on the dash cam, as we would say it here. That's sensational. Demon Boost right up Swooper's clacker now. You can see where it's advantageous. It's full on exit speed here for Demon. He's going slow in, fast out. And around this corner, it's very tricky. Just lost the back end of that at the point of knot. That's for sure, but he's lost a little bit of time to the BMW in front. And the BMW's on the slide, full on the slide, four-wheel drifting it nearly. Absolutely had put the brakes on there to catch that rear end from darting himself around. That was the hairy stuff there for Swooper. I'll give you the hot tip. He literally just had half an absolute fat, and you can see the replay there, just on the teetering edge there at this moment. Cracking drive, but we're back to real life and live here at the moment, and no time is being lost by anyone. They're both keeping it real here in the end session. Bit of monkey see, monkey do action from these two in Swooper and Boost, but no, nonetheless, this is half a suck battle here. He's got a little bit of a run. He's just pulled out for now. When they get too close as well, ladies and gents, if you're following the car too close in front of you, that dirty air really, really hounds you and hampers you in terms of your overall grip on the car as well. The tyres start to give up a little bit, and that was a little bit wide there from Swooper as well. Speaking of which, no dirty air for him, just a bit of an unforced error. It's very, very close here. It is now a mind game battle. Are you going to dummy a move? Are you going to sit behind him and just keep that racing line going? Or are you just going to weave all over the track in the straight positions just to give them the old hurry up, knowing that they're there? Or just that constant pressure boost? You can see half a car onto the mirrors there for Leithland. He's on the slide at the moment, is Swooper, and he's lost it completely. And that is Demon Boost losing a position. Swooper's gone straight around the outside like a magpie, taking that position 9, and that is done and dusted for him now. Those tyres on the BMW must be as hot as a dodgy Vindaloo for that BMW to be slipping and sliding all over the place at the moment. But at the moment, geez Louise, he's right under pressure, and it's going to be another position here. Could be changing there for Demon Boost. At the moment, he's going to try and get Swooper's 9th position.
Yeah, it's actually Ninja behind him, so I'm not sure what's going on with the timing tower. Maybe there's a lap there involved as well, so all sorts of areas. But actually, I was working on the basis of a mandatory pit stop, considering, that's down the inside from car number 10. That is Ninja, as they are going side by side. It's very hard to follow if Ninja's the car attacking for place. Yes, it is. The timing tower is just having
having a mare.
Yeah, it's having an absolute nightmare at the moment. Actually, no, it wasn't. That's just because we hadn't gone through the sector split. Anyway, but a Swooper losing the place to the McLaren, and that was a great move. It was very late on the brakes, but I was under the impression that just like the other Enduros, we were seeing a mandatory pit stop strategy, but all of those things are green on the left-hand side. There's no mandatory pit stops in this race, and I double-checked the format as well in the ASA Discord, and it is open strategy. So I think we'll see 95% of the cars, if they can make it, which they should be able to, just go all the way to the end.
Ooh, okay, that does not add a spanner into the works that we were hoping here in the comms box, but nonetheless, with all this driving going on here, it's going to be very, very tiring. An hour and 10 minutes of just flat-out pace around any circuit is a test to the mind of the mental beholder, that's for sure. But we'll see what they can do and what we're going to see, because at the moment, Stephen Rees is just absolutely taking off into the distance. He's 4.3 seconds away from Hoggy there, and you can see that what that gap looks like. It's about a straight here at the Hungaroring, or 3/4 of it by the time they get around, and that is where he wants to be, Stephen Rees. Will he get onto the back of those couple of the back markers by the end of it? It could be likely, seeing that the moment Jay Lee is only rounding turn 3 here at Hungaroring. So on the track map, you can see just how far away he is. Lee Perkins sitting comfortably in 4th now. He's only 3.1 seconds away. And have a look at that livery, ladies and gents. It is just absolutely art piece itself. That's going for another 400,000 on top of the car's value there, with that sort of logo and product placement. Indeed, that is where you want to be. You're right here now, ladies and gents. If you're not here, get everyone around it. Give us a like, give us a subscribe if you're absolutely loving the channel at this moment. Lee Perkins driving the wheels off his BMW, sitting in 4th place and doing it very, very nicely indeed. Bit of a fizzle moment here. 51 minutes and 55 seconds left in the race, and everyone's sort of about that, between that 3 to 1.5 second gap away from each other. So we know what happens, Lindsay, with lull periods in a race. That is just when the racing gods come to us and say, you know what, I'm going to spice things up a bit. Who can I mentally just absolutely send off into the oblivion? And maybe we see some sort of incident come our way, keep us in the commentary box excited. But at the moment, looking very good for Lethal Force at this point in time. In 7th place, MJ only 1.4 seconds away from him and closing. It was 1.8. So a little bit of time found here, and these tyres are going to start wearing. I guarantee you in the next 25 minutes, it's going to start to get skatey around here at the Hungaroring using all those curves. Yeah,
there's a lot of tyre deg around this circuit, and it really shows once you get about about 20, 30 minutes into this race. So in about a minute or 10 minutes time, depending on the car, you should start to feel just a tiny bit of tyre wear. Not all of it, not a lot of it, but you'll feel just a tiny bit. But with the fuel coming out of the car as well, we should expect to see the lap time stay relatively the same all around, so that'll be an interesting factor to watch, who can manage the tyres as well as the fuel at the same time to still try and get the same sort of lap time out of your car. It's really a case of, do you know how to drive a car around tyre wear and still make the best of what it's capable of? And I think a lot of these drivers on the grid tonight are, and especially Stephen Reese, who currently sits 4 seconds out from Hoggy in P1. So he is just absolutely flying. As we've touched on, his fast lap in this race is a 43.5, and surprisingly enough, actually, the gap to the next fastest lap for Hoggy is only a 43.8, so maybe not as big of a gap between the two fastest laps as I'd expect, but just consistency-wise, Steve-O is nearly 5/10 a lap clear of Hoggy, and actually across the line, the gap was 4.7 seconds, so Steve-O is just an absolute gun here at the Hungaroring.
When isn't he a gun? He seems to be a gun everywhere, and he's got all the bullets loaded and fired well and truly at the shooting range. Just setting absolute bullseyes every single time he fires another lap around here at the Hungaroring. Good on him. He's driving very, very nicely indeed, and where he should be overall. Demon Boost has a little bit at the moment between himself and Ninja. So it's going to be a little bit of a bit of monkey see, monkey do action if they get any closer together. The closest battle on the track is between MJ and Lethal Force. So that could start to peter away. It's about 1.8 seconds at the moment, but are we going to see some sort of tyre dead come into play here? Are other cars going to be a little bit harsher on the tyres? Rear end wise, these Ferraris look very skatey at the back end. That's always going to hurt. The more you slide a tyre, that carcass is going to start to just say, I've had enough here for the moment, and you're going to have to go into race preservation mode and do a hot lap, cool them down for one lap and be 6/10 off and then go again. But that loses you time overall, and we can see that now because MJ's only 1.1 seconds away from the back here of Lethal's Ferrari. What is he going to be able to do in MJ? Will he be able to moonwalk his way through to a position? I'm not too sure, but it's only 1.1 seconds, so that is enough to get your eyes open if you are in the car of Lethal Force at this point in time, the Aston Martin. Beautiful sounding car as well, if you don't mind. I reckon it sounds beautiful, looks great as well. Pretty a shame that it's not one of the front-running cars. I'll give you the hot tip. Whoever is it? Oh, no. And speaking of which, that's what we were talking about. That's the unforced there, as we can see, and the tyre giving up the ghost there for a little bit there on Lethal Force's car. So this is well on now. Can he keep it navigated straight and clean through turn 3? He can. Turn 2, sorry. But he's got that job done nicely. But Lethal Force, they're absolutely hounding the back end of that Ferrari. Maybe something happening in the tyre department. He's just got to find that limit and stick to it rather than overdriving here, because he's got the pressure now, 0.4 of a second between himself and Lethal. Now Lethal's smelling a bit of blood here like a tiger in the old Kalahari Desert. These guys are now going to be battling here for a good little tussle between 7th and 8th.
Yeah, and Demon Boost as well, not too far away in the background. So once these two really start going at it, hammer and tong, I would imagine it'll become a three-way fight with the 666 car as well. That's another big slide there for Force. The Ferrari really giving up its rear tyres, and he goes off the circuit, and after a massive slide, he's just now all out of sorts here through the middle sector, and the Aston Martin of MJ thought about looking up the inside as Force is just all over the road, and those tyres will be red hot at the moment. I can imagine the pressure's climbing well without that optimal range that you see on ACC, and as I said, that has invited the 666 car right into this battle. So this is now a three-way fight for the 7th place on the road. Force will have to keep his wits about him if he wants to hold this place. He can't have another costly mistake like that. Otherwise, I'm sure next time MJ will really just go for it. I think the main reason he didn't was because of how long they have left in this race. But really, if Force is not careful, he'll get eaten alive by both of the two cars behind him as they make their way down towards turn number 1. Nobody going for moves, but with a 3-car train, a move is going to be inevitable in the next couple of laps' time. This train very, very close together, separated by only about 1.5 seconds from Force all the way to Boost. No, not even across the line. It's updated to about 9/10 for this entire 3-car train. So absolutely fantastic stuff so far, as now MJ just gets a little bit out of sorts himself, a little bit of a snap, so the tyre deck really coming into it, but the Aston Martin still got a slingshot off the corner. He just opened it up so much more compared to Force, who just seems like he's struggling to get the car placed well on the road, and that's really showing as MJ is just pushing Force to the next level as they head through corner after corner after corner. That Ferrari just really not having enough at the moment.
Definitely, and cracking battling, and the worst time in the world for me to depart the commentary box, but we have to go here in the O'Reilly household. It's been a cracking event so far. This battle is heating up. Lindsay Muddle, I'm going to leave it with the best in the business here, ladies and gentlemen, and this battle is just starting to get spicy here. The tyres have cooled down on that Ferrari, it looks like it at the moment, but nonetheless, he's still under an absolute heap of pressure there. That is a car, I reckon that's Ross in the background there, and the Mustang is entered into the server, mind you, but he's already 12 laps down, so just probably getting some educational sessions on that Mustang around the Hungaroring. But this battle here is starting to heat up and get really spicy. Lindsay Muddle, it's been great to have you, and great to be here with you. I'll bid you all adieu, and to the viewers tonight. Let's see how this race ends up here with a spicy battle between 7th, 8th and 9th on the target list at the moment. Ciao for now.
Yeah, see you, Zach O'Reilly. You will be missed in the commentary box tonight, but it was good to have you around while you were here, as he's now long gone from the comms box already. He's ran out the door. He's tried to wake up Munro while he's at it as well. Just gave him a slap across the back of the head, but nothing. He's just passed out at the moment. So it is just me in the commentary box now for the next 45 minutes of Fargone racing action here in the penultimate round of the series. So it's a three-way train between Force, MJ and Boost as they continue to scruff and scrap away at it. The grit and determination of the cars behind Force will be very high in the moment as they just continue to push and push and push behind that Ferrari, just staring at the taillights and the rear bumper of that black and green machinery as they push around and just have that motivation to try and get past that Ferrari in front. But right now nothing is happening in the cockpit of that beautiful sounding Aston Martin. He's giving it absolutely everything he has here in this race, and the Hungaroring proving very tricky for a lot of the drivers tonight at the moment as Jason Lee and Longy are close together. No, Jason Lee and Hoggy are close together. That's a lap down. Overtake. Longy's in absolutely no man's land in the middle sector. But so back to this three-car train over the back of the rear wing of Lethal Force now as they continue to battle away. But he just seems to have that edge at the right part of the track to hold on to the place. It's very, very close, but just no crumpet for MJ or Demon Boost to try and get a move done on this Ferrari. Actually, that's a very big slide for MJ, and then he just cuts back with the double apex and manages to save his poor exit, but he is still under a little bit of pressure from Demon Boost behind. But with that Aston Martin's acceleration at straight line speed, he just pulls back away and right back up behind the back of Lethal Force. But this is so close at the moment between these three. There's absolutely nothing separating them. This three-car train separated by only 0.7 of a second, and it's not slowing down anytime soon here in the Hungaroring. Speaking of the Hungaroring, how about we just do a little bit of a spit about this circuit? So, the Hungaroring, absolutely fantastic track as we're finding out tonight. It is deemed as Monaco without the barriers, for those of you unaware, hence why the drivers are struggling so hard tonight. Such a tricky circuit. The circuit broke ground in 1985, so as far as circuits go, it's not the newest, but it's also not super old in the grand scheme of things, but it's had iconic moments all throughout. 2019 Formula One comes to mind. Lewis Hamilton pulling an undercut on Max Verstappen, or no more than actually pulling the two-stop on Max Verstappen and closing what seemed like an insurmountable margin to close up to the back of the Red Bull and just re-overtake with absolute ease. Max Verstappen returned the favour though in France only a couple of years later, but Lewis Hamilton did do it again as well in Spain of 2021 in that absolutely infamous season. But Hungary 2019 was really the first time we saw Max and Lewis give it everything with a two-stop strategy, really playing into it when they're so close together. The track here in Hungary is 4.381 kilometers as well as 14 corners, and lap record, not that it's really relevant for tonight, is a 1 minute 16.6 by Lewis Hamilton in 2020 as MJ is now looking down the inside on Lethal Force, but he isn't able to pull up alongside when they actually mattered at the apex. But he gets a great run at Slingshot off of turn 1, and he's really trying to hunt now as they head down through turn number 2. The Aston Martin just not really able to get anywhere at the moment, but he opens up the corner so much more than forced through that flat out turn number 3, and that'll really help him. I'm sure at some point in this race he'll get a great run off of the corner and he'll really let it rip here and go for an overtake, as he now is actually trying the outside of the long right-hander. Don't hit the inside curb, it'll give him a snap. He takes the curb anyway. He gets a great run. Force has to go defensive at the chicane. He can't go wheel to wheel through here in any sort of car, but especially a big bulky GT3 piece of machinery, and unfortunately for MJ, he's just catching at all the wrong moments at all the wrong times. He's not able to go to any sort of overtaking maneuver, as MJ now looking the long way round. He gets the opened up corner for the fast right-hander. If he gets a good exit, that'll open him up for the next right-hander to try and go for an overtake. Forces a tiny bit defensive, goes back to the racing line. MJ deciding not to go for it at this corner. Definitely a good place when you're looking for a desperate lunge, but there's 40 minutes to go in this race. He doesn't have to force his way past, but at the moment he's just bleeding lap time sitting behind the Ferrari that's in front of him. He is the quickest car in this train undoubtedly at the moment, with 39 and a half minutes to go here in Hungary. He should really just try and get a move on. They have quite a gap to Speed Racer in front, but at least if he gets in front of the Ferrari, he can at least try and close that gap that's almost insurmountable, as MJ pulls to the right hand side again, isn't able to go down the inside. He's just not trying to force his way through at the moment, but the Aston Martin will start to get impatient. It'll be like a ticking clock that he's sitting behind. He'll hear it in his head, tick, 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 constantly as he's just sitting behind, and that's the time of his patience running out. As speaking of, he nearly runs into the back of Lethal Force, and now he's side by side with Boost as they head through the right-hander, and now he's at the back of the train after an unfortunate mistake. The quickest driver in the train drops to the back of it, and that helps Lethal Force, as now he gets a little bit of a gap to Demon Boost and MJ behind, and MJ now has another Ferrari to try and overtake. This time it's not a black and green one, it's a blue and red one, and he'll be extremely frustrated now. It was such a late braking mistake. He just nearly ran up the back of the 7 car, and now it really hurts his race. As speaking of hurting his race, it looks like Force got a little bit of a gap, and then he made a mistake once again, which they still aren't closed right back, but the gap was about 1.6, and now it's 1.3 between Boost and Force, as we'll now go on board here for a lap of the Hungaroring with MJ. So on board with him now as he heads through the right-hander. We'll do a pure on board, so once he crosses the line, I'll mute my microphone, then you can just absolutely enjoy the V8 roar as he tries to attack the 2 Ferraris that linger right up the road from him in a moment's time. Now I'll shut up and enjoy the V8. as that is a lap completed of the Hungaroring on board with MJ, and he made multiple mistakes, had multiple tank slappers throughout the course of that lap. MJ just really struggling at the moment, it seems like, in that Aston Martin since his mistake. It's just really hurt him. It's really hurt his progress. He looked like the comfortable competitor for P7, and now Demon Boost is actually putting force to his paces now. The blue Ferrari versus the black and green Ferrari is really on like Donkey Kong with 35.5 minutes to go. They're side by side through the fast right-hander, but it didn't stay like that. Demon Boost backed out of the throttle, and that gives Force just a little bit more of a fight here, a gap, sorry, between the two cars, and that also allows MJ right up to the back of the blue Ferrari once again, back where he was about a lap ago when he was just trying to get up to the Ferrari before he started making mistakes. So hopefully now that he's back in, he stays back in that three-car battle, and MJ can try and just make up all lost time. But he is looking faster than Boost now. Boost definitely has a little bit of a misstep after he tried to attack Force through the first sector, and now it'd be smart for MJ to try and get a wriggle on, get past this Ferrari, and then close back up to Force. But also with the mistakes he's been making, maybe not, as they head through the fast right-hander. And Demon Boost just holding station at the moment. MJ not able to get past as they head through the right-hander now. This three-car train not battling away too much side by side, but they're just staying nose to tail and waiting for an opportunity to strike easily the closest battle on the circuit at the moment. They're the only cars at the moment that are separated by less than 5 seconds. So, and they're very close together. So these are the three that we have to stay with, as there's a yellow flag for car 47. So maybe not, as we'll look to Toba Sire, who's found himself barreling off the racing surfaces. Actually, Stephen Reese was behind him at the time of the yellow flag being caused through the right-hander. Here's the replay of what happened to Toba Sire heading towards the chicane. He has the leading car behind him. Does he just crumble under the pressure, or what does he do here? Just takes too much curb and spins around right in front of the leader. Luckily doesn't impede the race leader whatsoever, but that's a lot of damage to that BMW M4, and that is going to be almost irrecoverable. He's just got to dawdle back home to the pit lane now and get the damage repairs. Now the 48 car has spun around at the final corner. That's Dave Ross in the Ford Mustang, who's had some sort of moment. He's just pulled over. We did make jokes about there being no Ford Mustangs on the grid tonight, and now when push comes to shove, one of them decided to show up to the party just late, mind you. It was about late 12 laps when he joined, as this three-way battle still rages on at the moment. Demon Boost giving it absolutely everything he has at this current time, just trying to battle away and get past Lethal Force that's right in front of him, but it's not working at the moment, and he'll just have to bide his time and wait for an overtake. But at the moment, nothing budging for anybody as they battle away in the Hungaroring. These three really just struggling to get side by side. They're able to stay in close contention with each other for the P7 place, but no overtakes have really been made except for when crucial mistakes have been made, and that's the game tonight. It seems like just wait until the driver in front of you makes a mistake, and that is when you're going to pounce. You're not going to go for an on-track maneuver, at least with 30 minutes to go. And that's definitely showing the strategy and the mental game for tonight. As Boost and Force still trying to battle this away. MJ lingering and waiting in the wings to try and get involved back into this fight, which he was once the middle car of. But since one tiny mistake, he's just not at the same pace. He's been a changed driver, I guess you could say. And it's showing at the moment. He's just not able to get into this Ferrari v Ferrari fight, but he is just sitting in the background waiting for an opportunity to pounce, to get back in front, or at least get to the middle of the train like he was before. As 40 minutes of this race have nearly passed. As we'll now go on board here with Demon Boost as he chases down the Ferrari in front of him. And we are nearly 40 minutes into this race. There's 50 more seconds until we are 40 minutes into tonight's racing proceedings. And you can see the difference of line between Demon Boost and Lethal Force. It's very different driving styles in the same car, maybe setup related as well between these two as to why they take different lines. But Force, the controlling car in this train, it seemed like it's... Oh, that's very late there for Demon Boost, and he actually pulls up alongside. One mistake is going to lead to a butterfly effect that's actually going to lead to a side-by-side moment. Force had to ditch out of the way to not cause contact, and that's put him under fire now from the 666 car as they go side-by-side through the long left-hander. Very wide there for Demon Boost. He has the inside for the next one. It's not going to work for him. Now MJ has a run in the Aston Martin. This is what he's been waiting for ever since his mistake, and he now moves back into the middle car of this train, but still Lethal Force able to hold on to the place. And now MJ tries the long way round of the Ferrari, who now makes a mistake. MJ is hounding the back. He sees an opportunity. He sees a place to try and go for P7 as well, but it's not going to come to fruition for the Aston Martin. But that is a nice piece of wheel-to-wheel racing. It was just one mistake of putting the nose in from Demon Boost, and then that caused Force to jump out of the way, and that jumping out of the way proved to be the best thing for the racing action as they then went side by side through the first and second corner. But he just ran out of road as MJ gets a great run off the fast right-hander, and now he's down the inside of Force. This is what he's been waiting to do for laps and laps and laps. That's what he should have done about 7 laps ago, but now it all comes back to him, and that's 2 overtakes in the course of one singular lap from the Aston Martin to move now into 7th position. That is where he'd want to be. That's where he's wanted to be since he's been in this 3-car battle, and now he finally finds himself at the front of this 3-car train, and now he should be able to pull away. He has shown and demonstrated the best pace in this train on his moment, but now will that solidify and become reality now that he's actually in front of the train? That's one of the hardest things to do. It's really easy to be quick while following and copying braking points and just pushing it a couple meters later, but when you get into your own devices, when you're at the front of the train, you're pushing to your own level, your own capability, it becomes a completely different ball game, which is why sometimes in the cockpit of a race car you'll find yourself getting really annoyed that the car behind overtook you and now he's super slow. That's exactly why. And now that's a mistake from Force as he heads up the hill. Demon Boost is trying the long way round. He decides to back out of it here for the P8 position. All the while, that's allowing MJ to creep further and further away in the Aston Martin as they head through the long right-hander. And Force is just making mistakes now. He's cracking under the pressure since he's been overtaken. It was a big mistake on the exit of turn number 3, and now it's just really showing as that is MJ completely booked out. That gap 1.3 seconds, so now we have a 2-way fight between the 2 Ferraris, and if they separate out, that could be game over for all battling here in the Hungary ring. That is what sometimes this track can create. We've seen it a lot in real life in Formula categories, normally not in GT3 though. In Formula categories, the dirty air normally makes it, hence makes it hard to overtake, hence why it gets the name Monaco without the barriers. It's hard to overtake, it's a tight racetrack, but right now these two really not proving that point as they are going side by side, but now he just backs out of it, does Demon Boost. As they head into the final corner, will Boost now look up the inside of Lethal Force. He's in the slipstream, he's gaining and gaining and gaining in the blue Ferrari. Is he now going to go down the inside? He is going to go down the inside, but the road is surely going to run out the apex. He clobbers the curb. There's nearly contact between the 2 Ferraris. Lethal Force gets an absolutely beautiful switchback on Demon Boost and holds the place just a little bit too red hot at the apex there for Demon Boost. Just clobbered the inside curb, sent him wide, and Force said thank you very much. But now he's made a mistake of his own. He's hit the grass. He's compromised his run into this fast right-hander. That brings Demon Boost back into it. Not too close, but not too far away either. This battle will continue, but MJ has checked out 3.4 seconds to Lethal Force. So now we're just looking at this Ferrari v Ferrari fight, and right now both of them looking pretty uncomfortable in the pace department in the Ferrari 296s, so that is not optimal for either of them at the moment, but I guess when they're fighting on the same place, on the same bit of tarmac, their tyre wear doesn't really matter unless they're very different, but being both in the same car, it shouldn't be. So they both know what each other are experiencing in the cockpit. That's another mistake from Force, running very wide through the right-hander. And now Force is trying to find his way right into this one, and he's going to go all the way to the right-hand side, and he's going to look down the inside. But he's not able to get alongside as they head through turn 12, and now up the hill through turn number 13, a compression on the apex, a little bit of camber on the inside of the corner, and then the final corner, turn number 14, as Force actually is going to pull into the pit lane. So despite it being potentially a no-stop race, he's going to pull out into the pit lane, and that is definitely interesting. Will we see more have to pit? Maybe more didn't have fuel in the cars to go to the end, but I imagine 70 minutes, you should be able to make it to the end in just about anything, so that's definitely an interesting strategy call here from Force to pull into the pit box. But now there's not a lot to look at. Speed Racer is pretty close with a lapped car, so yeah, nothing too much going on at the moment. Jason Lee has Dave Ross behind him, but that is an 11 lap gap between the two cars, and Dave Ross is just kind of in a land of his own. So we'll just look to Steve, but now we definitely have a lull period in the racing action with 24 minutes to go here in Fargone Racing, as Jason Lee getting out of the way of a couple of the leaders now, but Stephen Rees has a big gap to Hoggy behind. The gap between himself and Hoggy is 12.3, not 12.3, no, it is 12 seconds, I believe. We'll see when they head through the sector split. What's the gap between Stephen Rees and Hoggy? He crosses the line. 12.9 seconds between the two of them. That is the margin between the two. That is quite significant, and racing has really died down here in round 9. Speed Racer and Ninja close together. But close together does not mean the same lap, so closest two cars on track together, but other than that, nothing much, as Lee Perkins currently sitting in P4 is about to catch up to the Laptober side, who did pull into the pit lane to fix his damage in the M4. As Hoggy is actually about to catch Longy to put a lap on him, so I'm not sure what's going on with Longy tonight. I assume he's on controller or keyboard, but I'd imagine controller. I'm not sure why exactly. Maybe wheel broken, maybe he's off location, maybe he's not at home and he just wanted to take part anyway. Who knows? There's a variance of reasons as to why he could be doing this. Maybe he lost a bet for all we know, but he's sitting P12, not his normal race result, and Hoggy is actually about to put a lap on him. What a drive it's been from Hoggy so far to be in P2. Not a bad result as well as he can't slouch Ida Nicker either, sitting in P3, and Lee Perkins sitting in 4th. That, I believe, is easily going to be his best result of the season, so he'll be happy with that one. And Stephen Rees, I mean, what less to expect from the man who's dominated this season from start to finish in that number 6 Ferrari, currently sitting with the fast lap of 43.5, 13.1 seconds out in the lead from Hoggy, and he is just absolutely flying. And speaking of absolutely flying, I wonder if he has the sensational broadcast on. Normally when he has a race like this where he's just sitting out the front, he is watching the broadcast, and he's normally talking in chat as well, but maybe, much like the Nordschleife, he didn't have to stream up because this track takes a lot of focus and a lot of determination. We'll find out in a moment's time, because if he is watching, it'll become more than likely known. But he is currently sitting a country mile out in the lead. Apologies, just had Dad walk in to tell me something. It happens. But yeah, Stephen Rees currently sitting out in front by a country mile here in Fargone Racing. And what was I about to do anyway? I was about to do a full on-board lap here with Stephen Rees. We'll go, not that camera, cockpit camera, telemetry up as well. And here we go for a lap of the Hungary Ring. We'll start now, and I'll be on mute until this time next lap. That is a full on-board lap with Stephen Rees completed here with 19 minutes to go in this 70-minute endurance race. So we have covered 50 minutes just over of racing action here in the penultimate round. Not a lot of racing action going on out on the track at the moment, unfortunately, for myself and you, the viewers, as well, here watching this race going on as it continues, but just about 18 and a half minutes to go. So we'll just see Stereo absolutely walk away with it, as he has been since the start of this race. And what less can you expect? As I said before, it's exactly what we should be expecting from Stephen Rees at this point, especially with the likes of Nomadi and Nathan Monks, as I touched on earlier on the grid, as Swooper getting just a little bit in the way there of Steve Rees out the front. But yeah, he will absolutely walk away if he doesn't have the competition Longy on controller tonight for whatever obscure reason. And as I said, Nathan Monks and Matty, the other two contenders really that push Stevo to the limit, not here tonight. So he was always going to walk away from this one just a little bit. It's really showing how dominant he is in this series, currently sitting about 14 seconds out in the lead. When he goes through turn one and he gets to the exit, Hoggy crosses the line. It's a 14.3 second gap between the two of them. That is absolutely astronomical for Stephen Rees. I thought there was a battle going on, but no. It's actually Hugs putting a lap on Lethal Force, who got overtaken by Damon Boost earlier on. And Super actually managed to get past MJ sitting in 7th. So that 3-car train well and truly dissipated as Longy gets a lap put on him now by Eater Nick. So we'll just go back up to Stephen Rees as he waltzes away with this race. Not too much more out on the racing track to go on at the moment, so we may as well look at the fastest car here tonight. Just absolutely dominant stuff from Stephen Rees here at 4:56 p.m. in game time. And yeah, this track temp as well really playing into the Ferrari, as if it wasn't already an absolute gun around the Hungary Ring with a gun of a driver behind it. Normally tyre wear's a little bit of concern about it around here, and we have seen the tyre wear still kicking in, absolutely. Not saying it's not there at all, but with an 18-degree ambient, 23-degree track, that is an absolutely perfect condition for hot lapping and racing alike, and definitely reduces the tyre wear as well to boot. So Stephen Rees will be very happy with his Ferrari at the moment. Only 1 kilometre as wind as well, but I've never really noticed a difference with wind on ACC with the way the car behaves, at least personally. Let me know in the live chat if you disagree, if you've ever noticed it does make a big difference on ACC. I know it makes a big difference on iRacing. I've definitely done my fair share of spin classes in the Formula 4 car, especially at some of the trickier combos with more wind, but on ACC I really can't notice a difference when the wind is sticking around. And Steve-O 15 seconds now out in front. That gap was about 14.6 last lap around, and now he gains another 4/10 over the car behind him of Hoggy. So absolutely unreal work as the 510 car is slow. It was Jason Lee who's actually just been overtaken by the race leader. I'm not sure what's happened here for the Aston Martin. Let's see, just up through the left-hander. MJ is about to go past. He pulls off. He's just getting out of the way for blue flags. Then he rejoins onto the track. There's Demon Boost through the long right-hander. Does he just decide to pull off and let everyone through? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, here he goes. He just pulls off to the side of the road and decides it's not worth fighting anybody or waiting to get in the way. How about I just stop on the track? And let everyone through who needs to go through. Not a bad choice from the P13 car, but definitely an unconventional choice. But we have seen him take some interesting racing lines around the circuit at time to time, especially last time out when he went the inside of the track on a hot lap at a chicane. So he's still learning. But next season, obviously, let's talk about next season. So next time out, we'll have the final round of the season. Stephen Reese is going to take this championship by a country mile. It's not even in contest. But after we have Silverstone in a 225-minute sprint round, we don't know anything about Fargone Racing GT Challenge Season 20, the big Season 20. It is going to be an absolute rip snorter, but I'm sure in the coming weeks we'll find out more. Pretty much, I imagine the second Season 19 rounds out. We might have a little bit of a break, probably 2 weeks, maybe 3, if Steve-O's feeling nice. He's a very hardcore bloke. He just loves to run series after series after series with not much gap in between, and also no break weeks throughout the season as well. He just wants to get it done, and he does get it done on the track as well. He's an absolute legend, this guy who runs the event, but I'm sure we'll get a calendar reveal and all sorts as well here in Fargone Racing when we gear up for season number 20. That is a long time. That's a lot of racing here on the ACC platform. Not sure of its origins. Maybe it didn't start on ACC. I haven't been around here long enough. I've only started commentating from round 2 last season in GT Challenge season 18. But here in season 19, I've been here, I believe, every round. I might have missed one, but I don't think so. I have been late to a few, but other than that, yeah, it's been absolutely cracking stuff all season round here, and I cannot wait for season number 20 and Stephen Reese at the helm once again, making sure all of the racing action goes on every single week, getting all the servers set up and anything else you need to do, the custom BOP, whatever, is required when it comes to running an ACC league, and I've absolutely no clue. I know what it's like to run an iRacing league and an F1 league as both admins and owners, but I've never ran an ACC league. I can imagine it'd be quite tricky with all the servers and etc., but he does a very, very good job of it and somehow still manages to find the time to practice and lead by 17.6 seconds in a race. So he's an absolute gun, this man. And I cannot wait to see what season 20 brings on. Hopefully more consistent attendance from the likes of Maddie or maybe even Nathan Monks, who makes a return to season number 20. It would be good to see another championship fight between Maddie and Stephen Reese. We know that on her day, she can take it to the man, the myth, the legend himself. And she actually won a whole championship fight over Steve-O. But now the question will call, can she do it again next season? She couldn't do it this season. She's had off time, off weeks, and also just not attendance as well quite a few times, including this round this season. So maybe next season will be the magic ticket, the magic number. It's the number 20 for Maddie to try and take another championship victory, but Stephen Reese looks like he has an absolute chokehold on GT Challenge at the moment here in FGR. It has been absolutely fantastic to see him just really show his potential in the Ferrari. He didn't get along with that McLaren whatsoever last season. Every time I jump out of the call with him, it's not that he absolutely hated it, but he was just, he wouldn't really like it too much. I think it was the brakes that threw him off. I'm not sure. He's probably going to clip this and correct me, saying, no, actually, I love the McLaren. Kidding. I don't think he will, but he'll point out whatever it was that he didn't like about it. But I from memory, I think it was the brakes. And that is a fair statement to make. I don't like the McLaren because of its poor brakes on the ACC platform, but so he moved to the Ferrari and he's just been even quicker, as if he wasn't already too quick for everybody on the grid. He moved to the Ferrari and he's just taken it up another level here in season 19, and it has been an absolute spectacle and honour to watch and call the action all season long here in season 19. There's still 10 minutes to go here in round number 9 at the Hungary Ring, and then obviously Silverstone next week as well. But regardless, it has been an incredible season, and I'll say that again next week when we go to Great Britain. But Steve-O still just dominating this race. No close battles on the track at the moment. Demon Boost 1.6 second car is a lapped car, so yeah, not too much happening at the moment. So we'll stay with Steve-O, and I think for one last time in this race, one more time, we'll do a full on-board lap with a car as the action settled down, and Steve-O is going to absolutely go for it, hopefully, this lap. So on board with Steve-O, telemetry up. I'm going to go mute and enjoy the lap. And that is one final onboard lap completed with Stephen Rees in this race session. 7 minutes to go, so about 3 more laps, I would imagine, to go here in Fargone Racing here for round number 9 at the Hungary Ring. It's been an absolute domination of a race from Stephen Rees. Demon Boost once again getting close to a lap mark if you're worried about him. Racing MJ, not the case as far as I'm aware. Actually, we will take a look. Maybe it is MJ. Oh, actually, never mind. This three-way train, I don't know what's happened. Maybe they all had to pit. As actually Lee Perkins comes into the pit lane. So maybe people not being able to save as much fuel as they thought here in the Hungary Ring. Looking at the minimap, I thought it was a lapped car, but no. These three back together again. Once again, MJ leading this train as actually Lee Perkins in the sensational BMW, who is looking so good for his best league performance in a P4 position. I don't think he's had the fuel. He hasn't had the fuel to get to the end, and he's just fallen all the way down the order. Really, really upsetting for the 55 car number 9, but it happens in racing sometimes nonetheless. But we have a three-way fight here for P6, actually two-way fight, I'm not sure. Oh, car number 7 is gone. He's in the pit lane, so I'm not sure what happened to Lethal Force. We have a two-way fight here for the end of the top 6 between MJ and Demon Boost. That gap is just a little bit elongated at this point. Stephen Reese, 21.3 seconds to Hoggy behind him. He's absolutely checked out in this qualifying session. That is fantastic stuff from him. But can Demon Boost put the pressure on to MJ now as they head into the final, I believe it'll be 2 laps in the, wait, no, a minute 40, it's not quite 2 minutes. Final 3 laps, 4 laps, I said final 3 laps last lap, it's not a 2-minute lap, is it? It's about a minute 40. Final 3 laps of this race now, I think. Maybe 4, it depends on where Steve-O is in the grand scheme of things, but battling still well and truly on at the moment for the end of the top 6. Lee Perkins still in the pit lane, and so is Force as well, so not sure what happened over there for those guys, but unfortunate stuff for them as these two have been so close most of this race. We saw a singular pit stop kind of change the order around temporarily. It looked pretty set in stone, but then it all changed again. And these two have been fighting away ever since. It's been good stuff from the two of them to keep this battle going, as that gap just kind of elongating between these two, but then it closes and extends once again and again and again and again. And it all comes down to where they are on the racetrack, and also just lap after lap tyre management as well. Yeah, it's really close between these two drivers. Be interesting to see who comes out in front between the two of them right now. I think MJ has one hand on that P6 position, but can Demon Boost do anything about it? Maybe, maybe not at the moment. Currently just sitting there, getting pulled away from just a little bit here in the Hungary region, and that is not what you want at all. So MJ just a little bit wide out of the long right-hander, but now we will cut back to Stephen Reese as he's heading through the third sector. 2 minutes 40 to go here, so he'll head on to the penultimate lap next time by, and then it'll be the final lap of this race. The time after is actually, he has 20 seconds out in front. Oh no, it's not, he doesn't quite have enough to make it the last lap, next lap, even if he does slow up. So he will just go and head onto the penultimate lap. He has 22 seconds of the car behind. Yeah, no, he'd need about another 3 seconds on that to just lift off and let the timer go to a minute 40. So when he crossed the line, the timer was 0. So, oh, car 33. That's Longy on the controller once again, getting caught out. But Stephen Reese, I know I already went on about a 10-minute rant about him and his race and his pace, etc., etc., etc. But, as there's Longy. Stephen Reese, 22.5 seconds out in front at the moment in that Ferrari on the penultimate lap of this race. In the practice session, he was 8/10 clear of the next car, and I already figured it was wraps, but I thought it was going to be pretty close, surely. But since then, he's just proved me wrong at every single turn. In qualifying, he got pole by a country mile. And now in the race, he's leading by an even bigger country mile. It's a good couple country miles as Steve-O flies past the stricken 510 car of Lee in the Aston Martin. And now with 48 seconds left on the clock as Steve-O rounds onto the last lap of this race. He has Tobisire in front of him. Not that that will really affect his race in any sort of way. But he'll now round the final corner on the penultimate lap to begin the final lap, the final dash around the Hungaroring here to finish what has been a very, very long 70-minute race. There was battling for a good portion of the race, but then it all settled down. The dust settled, and then it got pretty hard to call, but it was still a reasonable watch as all the drivers circulated. A couple of unexpected pit stops, but Steve-O has stood out above the rest, as he always does here, as the time has 3, 2, 1 seconds left. And now it is officially the timer at 0. It is confirmed. The final lap of this race. 23 seconds out in the lead is Steve-O. He's just absolutely booked it. He must absolutely love this track, or nobody can just get on his level, which we've seen it several times this season. He must have had an absolute ball tonight, just being out in the lead, no pressure behind. The exact sort of situation he loves to put himself in, but I'm sure he also loves a good motor race, which he's not had in the cockpit of that Ferrari tonight, from an action standpoint, that is. But now, as he heads through, he has 1 sector to go here in the Hungaroring. Next round will be Silverstone and the final round of GT Challenge Season 19, and he'll be looking forward to that every step of the way. But Stephen Rees has proved that he is the absolute dominant force, as he's done time and time again this season. And now, with a 24-second lead from Hoggy, he's going to round the final corner in that Ferrari 296 GT3 that's taken the top step many times before, and he'll do it again. Steve-O, your race winner in round number 9. An incredible win from Stephen Rees. He's flashing the lights. Surely some donuts are in play here in that Ferrari, just for the fun of it. We'll see what he decides to do here in the cockpit of that Ferrari, but what a dominant display it was from car number 6 as he heads through turn 1. Surely turn off the TC, Steve-O. Turn it up. But what a win. 26.2 seconds to Hoggy in the P2 Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari 1-2 here in Hungary. And then you have Ida Nick, who's still not finished the race just yet. But that BMW now across the line. Hugs is still somewhere on the circuit. I can't see him on the menu. He's heading through the penultimate corner now, and he'll take P4. Lee Perkins, I'm not sure what happened to him, but very disappointing. He was on for P4, but Hugs is now going to come up towards the line to take that one. Now that the dust has settled, there we go. The car number 95 takes P4. Speed Racer is now coming up towards the final corner and then towards the line now. And except for Ninja in car 10, he will be the second last car to cross the line. Speed Racer across the line gets P5. Not a bad result whatsoever. And now the last car to cross the line is Ninja in the McLaren. So your final order to finish round number 9 off is Stephen Rees, from Hoggy, from Ida Nick, from Hugs, from Racer, from MJ, from Demon Boost, from Swooper, Ninja. Perkins gets P10, unfortunately for him. Then Longy, I believe, on the controller. Then Lee, Force, Tobisire, and Dave Ross, 13 laps down, is your final finishing order. I have been Lindsay Muddle in the commentary box tonight. I was briefly joined by Zach O'Reilly, but all good things had to come to an end and he had to leave just a little bit early. But thank you for watching all the racing action tonight here in Fargone Racing GT Challenge Season number 19. This has been round number 9. Thank you for watching Sensational TV's broadcast of this race. I've been Lindsay Muddle. Hope you enjoyed, and good night.